My parents gave me up for adoption because I was a boy. 20 years later, they reached out asking for money to pay for my sister's education. They threw me away, discarded me like trash, simply because I was born a boy. 20 years later, the same people who rejected me had the audacity to demand I fund my sister's college education. Can you believe the nerve? My story is pretty messed up, stretching all the way back to the day I was born. I'm the youngest of 3, and let's just say, I was completely unplanned. My parents already had 2 daughters, and apparently that was enough. As a kid I didn't get it, but as I grew, the bitter truth slowly, painfully, sunk in. I was unwanted. My mother especially was furious. She'd wanted another girl, a living clothes rack for her older sister's hand-me-downs. But I was a boy. And that, apparently, was a problem. Huge one. They hated me. Hated my guts. They forced me into my sister's old dresses. Sent me to school in their discarded uniforms. I still have hazy, painful memories of being bullied mercilessly for my long hair and girls' clothes. If I dared complain, all I got was a thrashing from my mother. It wasn't just the clothes. It was a constant barrage of abuse, harsh words I barely understood then, but which left deep scars later. My dad was mostly absent, a truck driver gone for days, but when he was home, he could be just as cruel. I wasn't a saint. I rebelled. How could I not? My sisters got the best of everything, while I got their leftovers. I started acting out, seeing them as the cause of my misery. Yes, I was punished severely sometimes. No breakfast, no dinner. A 6-year-old trying to survive that. It's unimaginable. Then came the game changer. I was being relentlessly bullied at school again, for looking like a girl. I came home to find my mom had bought new holiday clothes for my sisters. Something snapped. I grabbed a pair of scissors and shredded them to confetti. I know it was wicked. I'm not proud. But it wasn't evil, it was pure, unadulterated pain. And my parents, they saw it as an unforgivable sin. The punishment. They put me up for adoption. A month passed. No takers. The frustration, the anger, all of it rained down on me. You're useless. No one wants you. I heard my mother clear as day say, I wish I'd gender-checked. I would have never let him into the world. That still haunts me. My own mother, wishing I'd never been born, for something I had no control over. Eventually my dad found someone in the next town. Mary and John, a couple who ran a food van, relatively poor, but desperate for a child after years of trying. They agreed to adopt me. I remember my dad breaking the news to my mom and sisters. They were delighted, joyous to be rid of me. Dad warned them Mary and John were poor, that I might not go to school. My mom just rolled her eyes. Who cares? Just drop him there tomorrow. I stood there, numb, clutching the curtain, tears streaming silently down my face. I hated them, but leaving them, it was terrifying. Dad saw me just for a second, rubbed my back and said, Pack your stuff. We leave tomorrow. I cried out then, a raw, guttural sob, but it fell on deaf ears. So I went to my tiny corner, my room, and packed, praying my new family wouldn't be as wicked. The next day Dad drove me away. I don't remember much of the drive, just a hollow ache. My new home was small, a tiny house with 1 room, and they'd converted a storeroom just for me. No complaints from me. At least I had my own space. Mary and John, they were warm, loving. It was a foreign concept. I never felt it. I doubted them, expected them to discard me too. My childhood trauma, you know. It took months to trust that their love was real, not a facade. School was interrupted that year, but they promised. And they worked hard. So hard, saving every penny to send me back. That's when I started loving them back. My adoption wasn't a curse. It was a blessing. My biological parents, they vanished. Honestly, I was relieved. Here I was a boy. I was myself. Mary and John were incredible. They worked 14 to 16-hour days in their food truck, right outside our window. I started helping them, first with small chores, then on the cash counter. I was just 10, learning business and accounting. After high school I wanted to take over, but they insisted, college. They dipped into their savings. They were getting older, weaker. I wanted to care for them, but they pushed me to pursue my dreams. Graduation day was pure joy. John and Mary were beaming. They even invited my biological parents, but they didn't show. Predictable. After college, I wanted to run their food van, let them retire. But they had another plan. Their accumulated savings. They handed it to me. Start your own business, John said. I was overwhelmed. I took that money, their hard-earned money, and I didn't waste it. I found a struggling local eatery, leased it on a profit-sharing model. From scratch, I renovated it, updated the menu for my generation. The sales. They rocketed. Within a year, I doubled the investment. 4 years later, I have 3 successful cafes. I moved Mary and John into a beautiful new apartment. I finally had my own place, but they still insisted on running their food truck for happiness. I never thought I'd be a college graduate, a successful business owner, when I walked out of that tiny house with my suitcase. But here I was. Then last month. A regular day at the cash counter. And then I saw him. My biological father. It was like seeing a ghost. Almost 2 decades. He looked pale, weak. He walked up, a wide, fake smile plastered on his face, and hugged me. Customers were watching, so I moved him to a quiet corner. His face. It brought back every single harrowing memory. Every painful moment. He said he was proud. Happy. He claimed John told him about my success. He promised to bring my mom next weekend. I just stood there numb. After work, I went straight to John. I told him I didn't want to see them. My childhood, the trauma, it was all rushing back. Mary, my real mom, she urged me to forgive, to move on. So, I agreed to meet, but only if she and John were there. They came to John and Mary's house. Thought, this is it. They'll apologize. But no. Zero remorse. Instead, they counted their favors to me. My mom actually said I should be thankful they found such good parents to raise me into a successful individual. I was shocked. Furious. I wanted to unleash, but Mary squeezed my hand. A silent command to calm down. I diplomatically said, I'm blessed to have John and Mary as my parents. The meeting was incredibly awkward. A parade of their self-congratulatory delusion. The next day my phone rang. My mother. Her voice was unfamiliar. How could it not be? First time in 20 years. And it wasn't an apology. It was a demand. For money. Dad had lost his job, Mom was out of work. No restaurant needs a 50-year-old waitress, she said. They needed money for groceries to pay back friends. $20,000 would suffice, she said. I told her I'd think about it. Part of me, the old hurt part, felt bad. What if they genuinely needed help? What if they were being exploited? Had the money. Maybe, just maybe, I could help. I talked to Mary and John. Mary was happy I was considering it, but cautioned vigilance. John feared they were exploiting me. After a lot of thought, I decided. One last chance. I transferred the $20,000. I even felt good. Like I was finally helping my family, despite everything. But I was wrong. So wrong. I was right to dread it. They were exploiting me. A week later, Mom called again. She thanked me, then said, Your sisters want to meet you. When can you come home? For a fleeting moment, I actually felt like they wanted me back. I hated my parents, but I never hated my sisters. Maybe as a kid I lashed out, but I grew up. Sometimes I even convinced myself my parents got rid of me because they were poor, not because they were evil. I told her Sunday. Could drive home. She interjected. Why don't we meet somewhere outside? That stung. Didn't they want me home? Still, I said okay. She texted me the details for one of the fanciest restaurants in town. I went. My sisters rushed to hug me. Felt good catching up. Then the menu came. They deliberately ordered the priciest items. My father, with a smirk, said, Order the most expensive one. My son is a big man now. Petty. Wicked. If John or Mary said that, I'd be proud. From him. 'Twas a knife. I sat there, watching them gorge themselves, plundering my wallet. I swore then I would never fall into their emotional trap again. I was cold the rest of the evening. They probably didn't even notice. When we left, they still didn't invite me home. My elder sister just asked, "So, where are we dining next?" I faked a smile, "Nowhere," and waved them goodbye. I told Mary. She was appalled. "Don't be a fool again," she warned. "Focus on your life." And I did. My sisters called. I didn't respond. My mother called. Silence. 2 months passed. They finally stopped. I thought they got the hint. Then, almost 5 months later, she called again yesterday. I don't know why, but I answered. She launched into fake small talk about my work. It was so transparent, so pretentious, I couldn't bear it. "What do you want?" Cut her off. She took a deep breath. "Your sisters had to drop out of college. Dad couldn't pay. We need you to fund their education." Flipped out. She told me to calm down. "They're your sisters. Your family. You have to help them." I was at work trying not to explode. Hung up. She called again that evening. I ignored it, but the calls kept coming. Ignoring wasn't going to make it go away. The next time I answered. "Your sisters are so excited to rejoin college. How are we doing this?" "Lump sum. Semester by semester. Just transfer it all to me, you don't need the trouble." Her tone was sickeningly confident. "Whoa, hold on, lady," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "I'm not making any payments." She was stunned. No wasn't an option in her world. "What do you mean? You don't want to pay it all at once?" "Fine, we can do installments." I repeated myself slowly. I am going other. My sister's education is not my responsibility. Especially not when my parents abandoned me and never even checked up on me. "You're only talking to me now because you want to leech off my money." She absolutely lost it. She was boiling. "Don't you forget we birthed you. Whatever you are is because of us. Your dad found a good guardian for you. Now it's your time to repay us. Your sisters and your parents are your responsibilities. You have to take care of all of us." I had so much to say, but it was falling on deaf, narcissistic ears. So I just said, "Well, yes, I owe a lot to my parents, John and Mary. They deserve all the credit for my success. As for you guys, I don't know who you are. None of my documents have your names. I don't even have photographs with you folks. So I don't think I know you at all." She started screaming abuses at me, but I didn't care. "Wrong number, lady," I said and hung up. Call me selfish, call me cruel, call me whatever you want. But I am not showering my hard-earned money on my so-called family. They were never my family. They got rid of me when I was 6. And yes, in my previous posts, people asked why I called John and Mary by their names. You don't call them mom and dad. Not immediately, but when they proved their love, their sacrifice. For the sake of the story, I used their names, but they are my true mom and dad. And for my biological parents, they don't exist for me now. Not anymore. She was my player too, my ultimate co-op partner in life, my entire world. We built our relationship on shared passions and trust. Until I found her cheating at a comic convention. And you better believe when I found out, I wasn't just letting it go. My wife and I, we were a match made in heaven. We loved everything nerdy. Gaming, anime, we could talk for hours about Legend of Zelda or the latest One Piece chapter. We got married fast, had this super nerdy wedding. I thought we'd be together forever. But life and our jobs got in the way. Conventions became a luxury we rarely indulged in. So, for our 5th anniversary, I wanted to do something special. I didn't make a ton of money, but I made enough to treat her. I surprised her with tickets to one of the biggest comic cons out there, a dream convention. She was ecstatic. I was so excited. Now, I've always been terrible with women. Never picked up on signals. Even with my wife, it took 3 long Discord conversations before I realized she was into me. At the convention, things started great. A girl dressed as slave Princess Leia was gushing over my stormtrooper costume. After she left, my wife pulled me aside, frustrated, saying the girl was all over me. I honestly hadn't even noticed. I'm that dense. She rolled her eyes, but we moved on. It was a 3-day event. The next day we hit a Star Wars meetup. That's when he walked in, dressed as Han Solo. My wife, in her Princess Leia costume, immediately gravitated towards him. They started talking, getting closer. I stepped in, mentioned I was her husband. The guy mumbled a "nice to meet you," but refused to make eye contact. After he left, I confronted her. "Nothing's going on," she insisted. "He just liked my outfit." She was the bigger Star Wars fan, so I brushed it off. Had to be nothing, right? The weekend continued. The next morning, my wife woke up sick, exhausted. I told her I'd go grab us something. But part of me just couldn't shake the unease from the night before. I kept messaging her but no reply. As I approached our hotel room, I heard sounds. I thought it was just her, maybe she was just really sick. Opened the door. And there she was. She looked at me. It was clear. She'd done something. I confronted her, but she denied it again. I looked around the room, frantically. Nothing. I dismissed it. Again. The convention ended. But my wife grew distant. Longer hours at work. Coming home exhausted. I'd suggest a movie, she'd say she was busy. But the moans, I couldn't shake them. They echoed in my head every time she showered. Then I noticed her Discord notifications were off. She never turned those off. Never. Something was seriously wrong. One day she left her phone. The passcode, it was still the same. Opened it. My heart pounded. There they were, messages from him. The Han Solo guy from the convention. Flirting. Exchanging pictures. He even mentioned role-playing. She was all for it. My blood ran cold. It was a gut punch. I angrily put the phone down, pretended I hadn't seen a thing. She asked if I was okay. I lied. "I'm fine," I said, a hollow sound. But I wasn't fine. I started researching divorce lawyers. This wasn't just going to be a quiet split. I wanted to humiliate her. To show her I knew everything. I told her about another big convention coming up. "I can't make it," I said, feigning disappointment. "But you should go." Her eyes lit up. Slightly. My heart broke all over again. This was my partner, my everything, just tossing me aside. The day of the convention arrived. I put my plan into motion. I'd done my research. The guy actually worked pretty close to her. Found them. Of course, they were in line for her favorite voice actor. I wore a mask, hiding my face, watching them like a hawk. When they got closer, the voice actor asked her how she was. She pulled the guy closer. "I'm having a great day," she said, and they shared a kiss. That's when I moved. I stepped right in between them, pulled off my mask, looked directly into her eyes. She dropped his hand. Her face went white. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "I caught you," I said, my voice cold, shaking. "You cheated on me." "With him." She stammered, denying it. But I wasn't having it. I pulled out my phone, brought up the Discord messages, and slammed them down on the table. The other attendees watched, shocked. The celebrity voice actor stood up, said he needed a break, and disappeared. My wife's eyes welled with tears. She begged me to listen. But I couldn't. I told everyone there loudly, clearly. My wife is a cheater. She cheated on me with this guy, who she also met at a convention. I told her I knew about the late nights, the fake gaming sessions. I'd called her friends. They hadn't heard a peep about any gaming night. My wife just stood there, utterly embarrassed. Then she tried to explain. "I wanted an open relationship," she said, her voice wavering. "I thought about asking you." "I don't want to hear it," I snapped. I never wanted an open relationship. I wanted her. She was my player too, my forever. We went home. I grabbed my things. All of them. I checked into a hotel. Contacted an attorney. She tried to convince me to stay, to try an open relationship. "You could sleep with other women," she pleaded. But I didn't want other women. My actions. They went viral. Someone recorded it. My public meltdown, her public shaming. It was all over social media, a huge stink on Twitter. Her boss even found out. I don't know what happened to her job, and frankly I don't care. I proceeded with the divorce. I got the house, all our things. But I sold it. I didn't want to be reminded of the painful memories, of the life we almost had. My quest for true love continues, but one thing's for sure. It won't be with a lying, cheating woman like her. Not ever again. What would you have done in my shoes? Is there ever a point where blood isn't thicker than water? Have you ever been blindsided by a betrayal like this? How would you have handled exposing someone in public? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.